Hey, what's up, everybody? So yeah, thanks everybody who watched my video, my re-edit of Cyrax's stupid little horror movie. It took all my energy, so I'm just gonna be lazy today, and we're just gonna watch Dan Aykroyd talk about UFOs because it's really funny. All right. I don't know exactly when this came out. It looks like it's the late 90s or early 2000s. But it's Dan Aykroyd unplugged on UFOs. On UFOs. It's so funny. What's up, little minkers? Hell yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you're doing well. Produced by David something. Consulting producer Jonathan Diva. David B. Santana. Oh, hell yeah. Millions of people worldwide claim to have seen UFOs. Dan Aykroyd is one of them. Uh-oh.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. The sighting over Washington yesterday has alarmed many of you. However, please, do not... We close?
Yeah, we're close.
Zoom into his ear.
2001 was a real space odyssey for me. Instead of flying on a spaceship to the moon, Jupiter, or beyond the solar system, I met Dan Aykroyd for the first time to talk about UFOs. That's when I knew I had to.
Has anyone ever seen his movie that he tried to make?
Talk about the truth, because if I didn't, no one would believe we had this amazing conversation.
Yeah, it's really funny. But has anyone ever seen Nothing But Trouble, that movie that he tried to make? He's like, well, I couldn't make it as a director. I was just a comedian and can't do it as a director, so I guess I'll just talk about UFOs.
One time I had this long conversation with Dan Aykroyd about UFOs, and I thought...
Like a little spiky hair.
Einstein was hiding inside of a comic genius, just so that if he told us the real truth, you wouldn't have to believe it. If Einstein had told us UFOs were real, would we have believed
Hell
him?
yeah.
He never spoke about
What's up, Wrestling Bob?
But Dan Aykroyd speaks about UFOs as if he were a full professor on the subject.
Aykroyd's
So Dan,
mind probe.
How did you get started in UFOs? What sparked your interest? What was the first thing that you can remember that happened to you that made you, ponder the question?
Well, I was born in July 1952. And I guess about maybe when I was 8 years old, I found a magazine, a Life magazine, with a picture of the UFOs from that sighting on the cover, with a big inquiry. What are these UFOs? And so that kind of started it as a kid, and I asked my parents about it, and, they actually, couldn't tell me what they were because they didn't know. They knew there was some mystery there. Then I saw The Day the Earth Stood Still as a kid, and that was a film that directly related to maybe some of the motives for visitations from other planets. And it certainly seems...
Hell yeah, Gilgabark.
...accurate today if you look at the way mankind in the last...
I know, it's the seriousness. Everybody's so serious about it.
Into a cinder.
What's up, Richard? We be chilling.
3-4 holes in the ozone layer because of industrial production around the world. Nuclear testing, wars. I'm just sure, just in theory, if there were another species in the universe monitoring us or near us, they would be very interested in what we're doing to this planet, to this planet's atmosphere, and to possibly neighboring bodies. So there would be a concern there. And I think that in terms of the extraterrestrial machines that are coming and going, that may be...
I love the sound effects. The Foley. The Foley's pretty good.
We've just had a rash of sightings all over the planet.
Hell yeah, 7 Graham.
In Turkey and Mexico.
Exactly,
It seems like
Sharky.
we're being invaded by UFOs.
That happened to me, too. That happened to me. No one, yeah, like, oh damn, you know, like, oh, happened to see the UFO like right when we were like smoking like a blunt, you know, like, uh-oh, no one's gonna believe this. What's up, Burger Boy? I hope so. I hope he shows off his like Crystal Skull vodka.
Let's talk first just about what's actually
Okay,
happening
this says that this was on 2004, so this video has to be at least after 2004.
out there.
Well, recently, the most dynamic sighting that we've seen, because it's corroborated by an actual government, is the sighting that took place over Mexico recently, where drug surveillance twin-engine turboprop plane was at altitude taking pictures of possible smuggling routes, and they photographed with their infrared cameras.
Oh hell yeah, that's the actual sound that he makes. He just makes that sound when they like zoom out onto it.
Some of them were in pairs and in threes, and
oh hell yeah, Richard!
were objects that couldn't be seen by the naked
All the
eye,
crop
but
circles.
were visible on the infrared cameras. Well, the United States.
Once me and my buddy went out to a field and tried to make crop circles, and it did not. They did not like stay folded over. There was just like a bunch of like thick grass that was growing up, and that grass just like came right back up. It did not like stay looking like no crop circle.
Air Force, after the news appeared in America, and it was covered on CNN and Fox. The footage was shown on Fox. It was shown on CNN, and in the Valley Daily News on the front page had a big headline, UFOs with a question mark, and it had pictures from that sighting. And of course, the United States Air Force had to respond, and they said it was swamp gas.
Swamp gas.
So I don't know whether swamp gas is not visible to the naked eye and visible on infrared, whether it comes in multiple balls, whether swamp
Multiple
gas is
balls.
doing a complete circuit around an aircraft and then taking off at high speed and right angles into the sky. If it is, then maybe it was swamp gas. But somehow this seems to be a legitimate one, because the Mexican government decided that we want to release this to the world. And this follows on the heels of the Belgian general who revealed some F-15 footage years ago.
A reenactment.
Of his Air Force planes chasing objects that were exceeding them.
I seen something kind of like that.
By twice again what...
That's another thing. I have seen something that does look like that, but I mean, I figured that's just a normal weird like aircraft. That's not like a alien airship. But those big black triangles that have like the glowing domes underneath them and they have the 3 points. Everybody's seen one of those. We've all seen those things before. Like, those aren't even UFOs at this point. Whatever they are. TR-548 or whatever they're called.
What his planes were going at. The French...
Multiple balls, exactly. Multiple.
Released a comprehensive study on the UFOs. The Soviets have been, since the 1950s, engaged in numerous...
What's up, Chodes?
About landings...
TR-3B? Okay,
and
that's like what they're called. Yeah, hell yeah.
Government inquiry going on, and in fact, as...
But yeah, I've seen one of those. But I was just like, oh, look, that's one of those things. I'm like, not like blown away by it at all. I was just like, oh yeah, it's one of those big triangle like ships. Everybody's seen one of those.
Anyone in the field knows the United States government for years has been covering this issue because they were compelled to cover it. Because of Ken Arnold's sighting, because of the sighting over Washington in July '52, just after I was born.
Just after I was born.
The V-shaped lights over
maybe,
the Capitol.
Maybe they were coming to like give him like alien presents because he's like the alien, like Jesus to them. They were like the wise men showing up, like, ha, here you go, Dan Aykroyd.
And over the Coast Guard station.
PR-549.
So the government initiated originally, I believe it was...
RAX-43, hell yeah, dude.
Grudge, the Condon Report, Project Blue Book, and then they engaged J. Allen Hynek. So, you know, the...
What the hell, Dinosaur? Are you being serious? Are you being serious? Fred Dresser said to old Howard Stern that he has a huge peen. I'm going to go see that right now. That's got to exist somewhere, right? I'm sorry, but what? What? It's like 32 minutes long. What is it? Where is it? What is it? What am I looking for? It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh my god, Kilkamark. What's up, Tulsa? Oh my god. I'm just gonna click on this one. It says controversial, and it's like only like 2 minutes long. So maybe it's this. And if it's not,
are you waxing intensely everything off so no strands of hair will stick out of the panties?
Yeah, I don't wax. Actually,
Jesus Christ, that's not what I'm talking about.
I got what they...
No hair grows back in?
No, we're indicating that
you got so much.
Because I did, you know, the way to be.
Any gray in your bush?
Oh my
Still
god.
Feel bad about
And it's like, what's that about?
You don't want to be
It's metrosexual stuff.
Hold it a second. Let me tell you about nature.
God, I mean, we made a mess everywhere, and he didn't give.
Oh, honey, that's me.
That's a man.
I'll bang you in the.
We made a mess.
Is this?
I was like thinking, oh God, I mean.
No. Oh my
honey,
god.
That's. I will bang you in the middle
Whatever.
of your heaviest flow.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm done. I can't find it, but like, goddamn, Fran Drescher, like, holy shit, what is she even talking about? Oh my god. This is, I know, right? Like, sorry, I'm sorry about that. Holy shit.
Not the only ones who address this issue. Our good old USA government has, in fact, seen the necessity to put people's fears or concerns at rest. And as anybody in the field knows, these studies went on, and these
oh my god. Right, Moshe.
revealed that, you know, most of the sightings could be explained through
Oh my
conventional
god.
means, as either hoaxes or weather climatic things, but many of the sightings were unexplained. And so therein is where lies the mystery in all of this.
UFO technology.
Dan, what do you think is the significance of
Humble
UFO
images.
technology? I mean, obviously,
Billy
you guys,
Myers
extraterrestrials
contacts
can
the
come from one
Palladians.
star system to another and visit Earth. I mean, recent headlines on CNN are talking
Galvanized
about in
sheet
BBC
metal.
that
Why would the UFOs be made out of like galvanized sheet metal?
we're going to run out of oil in 2026. We've got to get on to a better technology.
Oh, we're gonna run out of oil in 2026, guys. Oh no.
I mean, to be able to go from another star system to Earth, obviously they have the answer.
Well, the presence of these.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Yeah, that fucking the darkness. Oh my god. The main joke is that Cyrex's movie is really bad, and The Shining is like really good. So I tried to combine them together and turn his movie into The Shining a little bit somehow.
Obviously intelligently controlled machines.
What's up, Betty White, Spooky Estate?
Tells us that
What's up,
we
Snow
are
White?
dealing with beings who have anywhere from 1,000 to 1 million to 10 million to 1 billion years advancement in technology on us. So you've got to figure that. Look what happened in the last 100 years. We have the Wright brothers at the turn of the century taking off in basically a fabric and wood aircraft. By 1969, we have lunar expeditions. In the year 2004,
Thank you, Burger.
We have massive airplanes being built out of alloys and
Alloys.
graphite and this big ship that Airbus is building, the new Boeing plane. So in 100 years, from fabric and wood, we've come to, you know, advanced metallurgy, fuel use, and propulsion in just 100 years. Imagine what a culture could accomplish in 1,000 years. Or 10,000 years.
I'm
or
just
a
going to
million
play
years,
him a
or
little
billion
bit
years. It's
faster.
not inconceivable that you have intelligently manufactured and controlled machines that can...
Never mind, he talks too fast as it is. All the other stuff could like, you know, be not as like
not
slow,
only
but
traverse
he's talking
great
too
distances
fast.
in space by mastering gravity and the time-space continuum, but
Yeah, Happy New Year,
also
Happy New Year,
the
Burger.
dimensional.
I hope you have a good one.
the interdimensional travel that might be possible.
Exactly, he's
Many
just
theories
ignoring
now
those ghosts.
report that there were not only 4 dimensions at the creation of the...
Like, I was gonna put more stuff in it, but I just got tired. I just got tired of working on it. I had some more clips of him like shirtless, like looking like a monster and whatnot. But I just got goddamn tired of working on it and just wanted it to be over with.
Entire multiverse, 14 billion years ago at the time of the Big Bang, there were 11, maybe as many as 21 dimensions. So
21 dimensions?
Some of these beings may be coming from an extra dimensional
11 or 21 dimensions?
And, you know, what it says is...
Shit, Dan Aykroyd knows what he's talking about. There was 11 or 21 dimensions at the time of the Big Bang, and now aliens are coming from them?
Technologies have been harnessed, and that it's possible to use other fuels that don't rely just on simple combustion. And, you know, there are many theories. I mean, some theories are that the military already knows about these forms of propulsion and
oh my god,
and
that's shitty, Moshe. What's up, Death?
Or metals that can be vibrated to a certain point where they become light waves, photons. But they're not telling us. They're not going to reveal that, obviously, to us.
They're not telling us about turning into photons. So what the hell is he even talking about?
I think that you know, it's incumbent on us as a race on this planet to begin to find alternatives to the fossil fuels. But we're not doing it.
So the truth comes out. He's just being paid by like the alternative green movement to like promote this and like do this UFO bullcrap. The truth comes out, Dan Aykroyd. You're just a paid celebrity spokesperson.
Fast enough.
It's probably been the greatest and most successful cover-up in the history of the world. UFOs are as real as the airplanes that fly over your head.
What's up, Gene?
That is my unequivocal conclusion.
Oh my God.
How UFOs fly. I love the Windows Movie Maker. I love the Window Movie Maker style, like titles and whatnot.
The Avro Arrow story, Dan. I mean, you appeared in a movie about the Avro Arrow story. Canada broke the sound barrier. Diefenbaker dismantles the whole aerospace program in Canada, and all the engineers are hired by NASA and Boeing down here, and we finally break the sound barrier. But in Canada today, we have another scientist, Canadian scientist John Hutchison, is using wave induction, using Van de Graaff and Tesla coils and radio on a 75-pound cannonball.
Whoa.
Huge cannonball.
I've seen this dude shit before. This dude shit's kind of cool, though.
NASA, Lockheed,
go back to that guy who actually was like making shit levitate and whatnot. I remember that motherfucker. He was going crazy, like doing crazy mad scientist shit.
All these defense contractors are going up into his lab in Canada and trying to understand how this thing works, because the next person or the next country that figures out true anti-gravity propulsion systems is going to be king of aerospace on this planet.
The Hutchison effect incorporates radio frequencies, Tesla frequencies.
Oh, this is that dude.
High electrostatic
this is that dude's a crazy motherfucker. I like him.
A type of levitation effect where it can move a 75-pound cannonball of steel or brass bushings, water, wood, and other objects into the air.
Are we doing enough in our universities, in our
They're just gonna I gotta like find out more about that guy and like find his videos and stuff. That motherfucker's crazy. He like built like teleportation device or something.
Research labs. Are we putting enough money into
He might have got turned into like a big fly. I might be getting that confused with a movie though.
Kind of a research, and what risks are we willing to take?
Hell yeah, Dead Barbarian.
Universities in Beijing and China and Russia.
What's up, Bronx Beats?
Going into
they're just demons. Yeah, that's right, Bronx Beats. They're just demons. They're just evil demons.
UFO phenomenon or universities. But here in America, mainstream science,
they showed this on Sci-Fi Channel. That's pretty cool.
UFO phenomena. I mean, what do you think about that?
Budgets are tight all around the world, and as far as putting money into the study of alternative technologies, funding research by people like Hutchison.
Hell yeah, he levitates all the boyfriend-free girls to him. That's what's up.
The money is just not there. I mean, if you look at NASA, NASA is getting chopped back because the funds that are flowing through government now are focused on the war in Iraq and other things. So we don't even have the money to keep up conventional space exploration, development of metallurgy, fuels, ion drive systems. So I don't see any...
I like how he just so casually says all that stuff. We don't have the funds to keep up with technology, metallurgy, whatever else he said. I can't even remember it.
You know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, really
yeah, exactly.
putting the money into the kind of research that's needed to develop these alternative systems and to perhaps study what is driving these intelligent machines from somewhere else. Now, of course, that's on the...
Hell yeah, I think it might be 2004, 2005, because the last bit of little whatever footage that they had said 2004 on it, and it said recently, this recent, so...
On the visible side of things, we're hearing a lot about these special access programs where congressional money is approved by a very
that's a
narrow,
UFO for sure.
Slice of the membership in the legislature and given to the military to do basically carte blanche what they want with. So there could be a black military program that is
the B-2 bomber a UFO?
What people are referring to now as the big black deltas, which are these huge black triangles that are being seen all around the world.
Yeah, we've all seen a big triangle.
Being seen all around the world. So maybe.
Oh hell yeah!
They look a little.
Hell yeah! I've seen Dan Aykroyd's vodka. It's so funny.
Like this.
He's going real hard with it. He's like, yeah, I like UFOs. Crystal skulls were left by UFOs, I think.
The F-117. They look a little like the
BBC UFO.
Maybe these are special access programs that have been applied to alternative technology and energy and are really practically at work today. But I don't see them revealing.
Yeah, that's it. John Hutchinson.
That's it, Sharky. Right now.
Okay, I worked in the
I know, right?
For 36 years.
Right, Dead Barbarian.
I was a contractor employee, first working for...
Sorry, you were on SNL.
McDonnell Douglas, and then ending up working for Boeing after McDonnell Douglas was purchased by Boeing. I started at the end of the Mercury program and then worked the whole Gemini program. And during Gemini, I was responsible for the design of the equipment.
You know what I hate? I'm sorry, but the guy's saying it, but he's saying Gemini properly. I hate back in when they were working on the rockets and the news anchors would be like, the Gemini project. Make way for the new Gemini project. Like it was a damn cricket or something as opposed to like a zodiac sign.
For the life support system. And so I had a distinct interest
TR3B.
in keeping astronauts alive. And
I've definitely seen one of those before, but you know, I just was like, whatever. Because, like, at that point, I feel like everybody had seen one, and I just was like, that's just some fucking weird plane.
Equipment. During the program, when we were flying the Gemini spacecraft, my interest in UFOs became very real. It became real because, first of all, Gemini 2, which was unmanned...
He does, Moshe. And I mean, he probably is. He's in goddamn Hollywood. They probably prescribe him like a bunch of Adderall and bullshit.
Talked about among our researchers that 2 UFOs had followed Gemini 2. And then Gemini 2, of course, recovered.
Not sure. That is the funniest shit ever. Good Lord.
Recovered later. And I didn't think too much about that except, yeah, that's kind of funny. Very interesting stuff. And then when Gemini 4 flew, and its 4-day mission, 66 orbits, with James McDivitt and Ed White, about halfway through the mission...
Dan Aykroyd smokes Jim Belushi's brother's weed. John Belushi.
Astronaut Gordon Cooper...
Hell yeah, brother JP.
With a log of over 222 hours of manned spaceflight. He had a long and illustrious service to his country. With over 11,000 hours of flight, he was a fighter pilot, U-2 test pilot in the Air Force, and is one of the first men to ever fly.
Oh, hell yeah.
He orbited the Earth 22 times.
Oh my god, he almost killed Larry King. That's hilarious. I didn't even know about that. He like gave old ass like shriveled up Larry King some vodka and it almost killed him.
15th and 16th of 1963. On August 21st of 1965, he orbited the Earth on Gemini 5 and remained a backup for Apollo 10.
Exactly, Burger Boy. Just demons.
I've had some occasions to know with some of the people who were involved in.
Wait, that guy was an astronaut?
I think there's been an awful lot of untruths put out on Roswell.
That guy was an
conjecture.
Okay, I'm sorry, but now I might doubt the moon landing if that motherfucker right there was the astronaut. Like, hey guys, I'm talking about I was an astronaut.
I think there have been some truths in it. I think definitely there was something other than a weather balloon there.
One of those flying saucers?
Very likely. I'd like to think they reversed engineered it and did something with it. You know, did some benefit with it.
To go blow up the Russians. I really hope we reversed engineered it so we can blow up the Russians.
Which would be the logical thing to do.
He's got to prove cone heads, right? He needs to prove the damn cone heads.
Hours of the crash at Roswell, U.S. General Nathan Twyman.
The vodka run what little moisture was left in Larry.
Enemy aliens. It appears from his book that Colonel Corso agreed with that assessment.
Oh, this says 2005, September 25th, 2005.
As official U.S. policy
So,
since.
shit, now the date for this has been pushed up to 2005, 2006.
At that time, however...
Hell yeah, he is the alien.
...quote-unquote, about which the U.S. could do nothing. Because the visitors were so technologically superior. That led to the recommendation that the discovery be treated with the utmost secrecy. To the point that the crash at Roswell didn't happen.
Exactly, Burger Boy.
UFOs don't exist.
This is just a long ass commercial for his vodka. At the end of it, he gets done and he's like, "Well, the aliens have given me this message. They want you to purify yourself with Crystal Skull vodka."
The rationale was that the ordinary public couldn't cope with the news and might
Hell yeah, Google Bart.
easily panic.
Right, your turn,
Area
cutie.
51, Dan. I mean, we hear stories.
Cyrex has one of those alien watches. That's why he wouldn't show it to Marty. If you've ever seen They Live, you know what I'm talking about. Those little alien communicator watches that you twist and it makes you disappear into the secret underground layer. That's why he wouldn't show it to Marty, because it wasn't really an Apple Watch, and it wasn't a knockoff. It was an alien transport communicator device. You see, his disguise is failing. You know, the They Live aliens, how they have the big nasty teeth exposed. His disguise is slowly failing, and it's making him look more and more alienish every single day.
Stories from Bob Lazar. We hear stories about
Bob Lazar. But yeah, also he's got the spots on his head like the They Live aliens as well. I just thought about that.
Of space program theories, you know, we're building UFOs and reverse engineering UFO technology since the saucers crashed at Roswell.
Hell yeah, Burger Boy.
Of St. Augustine.
I think the aliens that are weird shit that we wouldn't even be able to understand, some kind of big I don't know, conscious amoeba that's out in outer space made out of dust, and we would just oh, that's a bunch of fucking dust, and we wouldn't understand that it's some kind of living sentient thing flying through outer space.
And we have reverse engineered that technology today. That's the theory. And NASA is just a smokescreen.
They live in an attic now.
True anti-gravity.
Oh, it was a Ben 10 watch? That's hilarious.
Why aren't we using it in our military? Why isn't it evident in the war in Iraq? Why don't we use it to demonstrate superiority on the planet? And if not, if all of this is just conspiracy theory and we really don't have this technology, again, are we willing to take the risk of losing air superiority on this planet by letting the Russians or the Chinese or some other country, even the Middle East, actually engineer this kind of UFO technology and conquer the world? Are we willing to take that chance?
Oh no.
Well, I think
the Russians are making UFOs.
Again, as far as military applications, maybe they are being used already. Maybe we don't know. Maybe they're being used in a surveillance capacity. As far as weapons that could be associated with such vehicles, one would have to think that if the propulsion system is
Not sure if you're watching, what is the alien UFO aerospace engineer place that's close to us? I forget its name every single time. But there's a place close to us that manufactures UFOs, allegedly.
As sophisticated as it would need to be to have these vehicles just hover, stop,
I don't know. I haven't seen him today, Bronx.
Take off.
Haven't seen anything he's done today.
5 to 6 to 20,000 miles an hour. One would think that the military application would then take the form of, rather than rockets and projectiles, that probably a particle beam would be used, some kind of a laser, some kind of a disabling beam to disable equipment, to cause disorientation among men and troops.
It's giving me a seizure. Give me a damn seizure.
I'm not sure that the U.S. military would want to play that card right now, because, after all, the war in Iraq really is a conventional war. We have air superiority there already. There is no Iraqi Air Force. There was no Iraqi Air Force. We, in the United States, we have air superiority basically over the rest of the world. I'm sure there's some pretty hotshot MiG pilots in China and Russia. But I think if you put our Air Force up against any Air Force on this planet, we would prevail without the use of advanced technology of the type we're speaking of. So I think that the U.S., if they have these things, they would probably save them for a more drastic confrontation, perhaps a confrontation with beings that have the potential to
oh my God, yeah, Gilgamesh.
Over us in terms of
Iraqi Air Force were aliens all along.
Aviation today. So maybe these triangles, the big black deltas, the rectangles, are the next wave of the U.S. military's defense against what some might perceive as an extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional threat.
Oh,
maybe
no.
These weapons or these flight systems now are being prepared to
like,
confront.
we should listen to him about extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional threats. I'm pretty sure, like, he saved the Earth once. That's why he's, like, has authority to tell us all this stuff. He once fought a big old marshmallow man.
A race of superior beings that could have designs on the planet that are malevolent. I think it was Lord Hill Norton, or one of the British Air Force Defense Ministry staff who was assigned to study UFOs in the 50s. After he retired, he said that in his estimation there were 23 different species of being visiting the planet in
gross, Burger.
Numerous types of vessels.
Mexican Air Force,
the NASA UFO
Phoenix, Arizona.
That you've done. I think that theory, there's nothing wrong with that theory that I can see.
Hell yeah, Anonymous.
To what you postulate, and that is that there are
that's what you got to do.
That are trying to heal the planet. Hence the size of these ships that we're seeing in the STS.
Dude, Tyler on Secure Team is so funny. Sorry, guys. The FBI are outside of my house right now watching me. Right now, guys. Hey, Tyler here, y'all. Look at this shit that I just Googled.
Cameras, and the fact that the ozone has holes in it, the fact that water could be a healing element there.
Water is a healing element.
These lifesaver-shaped little Dropostone-shaped ships conveying to our planet, well, we see them coming into the atmosphere. And
lifesaver ships.
On the STS tapes and other forms of exposure. They're
Species.
not releasing personnel. They're not releasing projectiles.
Yeah, you remember that movie, Species?
No harm has come to the planet, through their intervention. So one can assume perhaps.
Oh yeah, they came and got him. Absolutely.
Beings out there and malevolent beings out there, and maybe the United States government is preparing
lightsabers,
weapon systems to deal with the malevolent beings. Ronald Reagan said in a speech, he said, "What if there were a species from another planet that was threatening us? We would all find a way to work together." And one can only think about the Star Wars system and the fact that there we had satellite-mounted cannon. Well, they'd be good for shooting down rockets. They also might be good for shooting down other invasive vehicles that are coming into our atmosphere.
I mean, I know Star Wars was an actual missile defense program, but coming from Dan Aykroyd, it just seems like he's thinking like Star Wars is real. Like, man, we used to have a Star Wars thing, and we're gonna shoot it down. I know there's an entire like South Park episode plot about getting the two things mixed up, but still, it's pretty funny.
Ronald Reagan himself spoke about a UFO sighting that he had when he was governor of California in the Beach King Air that they used to use. They were coming from Sacramento. His wife was with him, Sacramento to Los Angeles.
Oh my God!
And a
damn.
saucer clocked the plane for a good 45 minutes, and Reagan spoke of it to a lot of people. And I think maybe part of his motivation in getting the Star Wars weapon system up might have been that to prepare ourselves for the day when other beings might come to this planet with designs of, who knows, taking minerals without authorization, taking people.
You're not authorized to take those minerals.
We're probably just going to have to wait to see.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat.
Is this why, like, what's his name wrote Watchmen? Like, the comic book where they make that big alien that shows up at the end of it and shit? Alan Moore. Is this why Alan Moore made Watchmen?
Outside this world.
Colonel Corso makes it clear that the Reagan administration's Strategic Defense Initiative, appropriately dubbed Star Wars,
absolutely dead barbarian.
designed for use against the alien intruders.
He was definitely senile. What's up, Zood Master?
Defense system is also being designed with that as one of its principal objectives. It is true that a case can be made for attempting to provide a shield against the Russians and Chinese, although everyone knows that the Russians are not going to embark on a policy which would result in their total destruction. It is equally true that they, too, are aware of the visitors and know that the perceived threat from the visitors.
I'm gonna click over this guy. Oh, what? Oh, gross. Oh, just frogs.
Doing the same to us, putting computer chip implants on us to track.
I didn't know what that was. I thought it was an alien for a minute.
Species, do a little bit of biological experimentation. I mean, I know for us it's horrific. I mean, it's absolutely a violent thing
Look at them.
as humans. But from their perspective, do you really think that they're being violent?
Well, again, I have to go back to some of them might be here for good purposes, genuinely interested in perhaps helping mankind, and some are here for selfish purposes. Maybe these abductions, even though
it's all a big ploy. All the alien shit's a big ploy to sell like trinkets in Nevada. Ain't nothing out in Nevada except like and New Mexico. Nevada and New Mexico. Alright, ain't nothing out there. No one wants to be out there, so people go out there to see the UFO bullshit, you know? Like, oh, Area 51, oh, Roswell. And so, everyone hates Nevada and New Mexico. It's terrible to live out in the desert, so they have to, like, fabricate all these crazy stories about UFOs and sell it to the masses, so they're able to sell their little, like, I saw a UFO, like, trinket or at the gas stations out in Nevada. That's it. I solved it. I solved the entire UFO conspiracy. The conspiracy is to sell fucking little like keychains and trinkets.
They're done in a
oh yeah, and to sell vodka,
but biological
and vodka.
way,
I forgot about that,
like
Gilgabart.
Dissect frogs. Maybe they're doing it just for fun and for sport. I mean,
yeah, and Arizona.
I don't know. I think probably that
like the gold rush. That's another thing. They have to like keep inventing shit for people to want to go out and live in the desert for. Like in the 1800s, it was gold. Like, oh yeah, there's gold out here, guys. There's a bunch of gold out here. So everyone went out there and like tried to find gold. Now no one cares about gold. So now it's like aliens. Hey guys, there's a bunch of aliens out here. Come live out here. Same shit.
That the fear could be justified.
Oh, that motherfucker's blasting that UFO with his pistol.
Prevent being abducted.
That dude's preventing himself from being abducted. He was blasting. Let's go back like 5 seconds. Look at that. He is shooting. Oh shit. He is shooting the shit out of that UFO with his pistol.
Has written this book about how to prevent being abducted. And we really think, even if benevolent species coming to this planet and taking a man and a woman and taking a woman,
crazy dead barbarian, alien trinkets and taxidermy. Should have got that taxidermy. Taxidermy is worth a lot of money. Just to let you know, taxidermy's worth a lot of fucking money.
Invasive and very traumatic for the human beings. So even if the motives are good, you know, these
hell yeah, we got Velcro from the crashed UFO at Roswell. No, we got Velcro from kookaburras, or like beggar lice, or, you know, kookaburras, or whatever you want to call them. Those little like things, they like get stuck to your clothes when you're like walking outside in like late summer, early autumn.
These actions are as violent as anyone we're capable of on the planet. I think that a certain amount of fear is justified. If you look at Day the Earth Stood Still, you know,
it's the second time he's mentioned A Day the Earth Stood Still. How much did he produce or remake, or was he in that like remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still? Was Keanu Reeves in that shit? Who was in that? I forget.
You know, the first thing that happens is the army is assembled, and you know, guns are shot at these beings and at the ship.
64% of Americans believe aliens have contacted humans. Poll 99.7.
I addressed the question to Dick Cheney because I say the most important question to put to any high-ranking official is not what do you think about UFOs or have you seen one. The most important question is, have you ever been briefed on the subject? Did someone walk in your office and tell you what's going on? Because
hell yeah, dead barbarian.
Office or some high-ranking official and briefs him on the subject of UFOs. It is for real. It's not imaginary, as the government has been saying for 60 years. So I asked Mr. Cheney, this is 3 months after he became the vice president, I asked him on the air, and this is still on
Mr. Cheney.
Archives, Mr.
God.
Cheney and all your jobs.
Anybody remember when Dick Cheney shot that dude? Y'all remember when he shot that dude? That was funny. That's a throwback memory.
In government, have you ever been briefed on the subject of UFOs? And if so, when was it and what were you told? And Mr. Cheney said, if I had been briefed on that subject, it probably would have been classified, and I wouldn't be talking about it.
Oh yeah, the Phoenix Lights were crazy.
January 22nd, 1997, I noticed 3 amber orbs now at a distance far west on the horizon. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, there you go, Arizona. There was the Arizona you were talking about, Donna Shore. Like, they need the Phoenix Lights for Arizona. Holy shit. What happened?
It's great to hear from you.
I'm sorry, I accidentally like somehow like made everything just like skip onto a completely different video.
And Mr. Cheney said, if I had been
20th century. Headlines surged the nation, and Arizona residents demanded answers from military and state officials. A mile
hell yeah.
19
far north is I think it said 1997, 7 gram.
UFO hovered above the great city of Phoenix.
What's up, Sherry?
Where Dr. Lynn Ketai shot this amazing videotape.
This amazing videotape, and then they just show like a still image, and they like zoom in it back and forth several times.
When we go out into space,
a message to E.T.
We're exploring the cosmos out there, and we're looking for signs of extraterrestrial life.
Oh, you made a lasagna?
Of a
hell yeah, a burger.
Communication are we going to send out? I mean, if Dan Aykroyd was the ambassador, if you were the ambassador for Earth, what message would you tell us?
Oh my God, that's what he wants.
If I were to speak for mankind to these beings that were coming here, I guess what I would say is, you know, let's go to some neutral place.
Exactly, Garfield. You gotta put the Garfield emoji.
Scientists from all around the world.
I don't have a Garfield, but I've got Sonichu. That's kind of the same thing.
A forum with you, the extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional beings. Let's sit down.
Hell yeah, Bigfoot. Shit, yeah. I believe in everything and nothing simultaneously, you know? Yeah, I believe in Bigfoot because it's fun to believe in it, and why not? Why couldn't there be a big, scary, like, monster, wild man thing out there? Doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a big monkey man. Could be just like a scary, like, giant, just like a weird, like, caveman human thing. But yeah, I believe in everything and nothing simultaneously.
Down and kind of get to know each other. And, you know, human instinct is pretty good. And I think, you know...
Hell yeah, lasagna boy.
Sort of a G8 style kind of summit with world leaders, scientific leaders, and these beings. And you'd sit down with them and, you know, after about a week, or even a couple of days, or maybe a few hours, you would really sort of get a sense of what they're up to. But, of course, you know, childhood's end, Arthur...
Right? That barbarian is so funny. Human representative Dan Aykroyd, writer of Conan's. Wouldn't the aliens get offended by that? Like, here you go. Hey, aliens. Here's a guy who made this really, like, alienist movie about y'all.
Clark's great story. It looked like these beings were benevolent, even though they had a malevolent appearance. And in the end, we find out that they meant no good for our...
Exactly, Burger Boy. I mean, you know, who knows what exists? I don't know exactly what exists. Reality is very, very, like, fluid. They might just start existing one day, you know? Things can just, like, pop into, like, existence, I feel like, maybe. Who knows? One day, like, you know, like giant squids kind of were like a cryptid for a while, and then they started existing one day, and they were real. So, you know, who knows?
For our planet. So, I think it's important that some branches of the military,
they're from France, actually,
be briefed on these in a very real sense, and be told, you know, they are real. People are being abducted. There is mind control in play here, and that we do have to be vigilant. Now, if we knew that there was a purely benevolent race, like if something happened in Iraq where all of the electronics went out in the American military and all of the insurgents' rifles jammed, or we saw all of the polluted waters in North Carolina from the pig farming completely healed overnight.
Wow, the polluted waters in North Carolina from the pig farming healed overnight. Very, very specific. But, like, you know, thanks for looking out for, like, North Carolina there, I guess, Dan Aykroyd. That's pretty funny.
And different signs like this, then we would know we're dealing with a benevolent species, and then we could really be open and welcome.
Exactly. If mind control's at play, he's already compromised.
Because beings with that much power could give the impression that they're here to help, when really they're not. So, the verdict is out on all this. We just don't know.
Exactly, Burger.
Which ones are malevolent, and the degree to which they're going to continue interacting with our planet. But what would really help is if the United States military and police and government open it up to their staffs and say, look, this is something we really do have to consider. Because, you know, maybe the defense, the survival of our species could well be at stake. If you look at the history, you know, from, say, Ken Arnold's first sighting in 1947, going back to the Bible, Ezekiel's wheel, going back to the medieval manifestations of...
Yeah, Burger, missing 411 stuff is crazy. Especially, like, the, like, stories where, like, the little kids kind of remember weird stuff. Like, a purple, like, bear taking care of them, or going into a mountain and there's, like, a bunch of duplicates of his aunt or something weird.
Saucers and UFOs, that...
And that's what I'm talking about reality being really fluid. Like, little kids experience a completely different reality than, like, adults do. You know, it's completely different. Completely different.
Painting of the Madonna, that's very famous, in which it appears. Up to now, there have been no mass murders by these beings. There's been no mass destruction of cities, but hundreds of thousands of people have been taken out of their lives, subjected to surgical experimentation, released back into the population, and are suffering trauma today for it. That is not good.
72% of Americans believe that life beyond the earth. I got all my tongues tied up right there. All my tongues.
The idea, I mean, like in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the meeting on the dark side of the moon in Devil's Tower, Wyoming. I mean, it seems like the logical thing to do. I mean, we have a communication, a teletype message.
What's up, Dustin?
We have a place, a location, and a time, and we isolate it from the public until we know it's safe. I mean, we check each other out. I mean, this seems like the most logical thing to do, you know, even rather than meeting on the White House lawn. I mean, this is the way we would like it to happen. But that
oh,
doesn't
God,
seem to be
7
the way
Graham,
it's
that's pretty
really
spooky.
happening. I mean, these extraterrestrials don't seem to be so interested in doing things politically the way we do things on Earth.
I know, right, Dustin?
They're
He should
picking
just
certain
admit it.
individuals to contact. They are zeroing in on those individuals. But now, I mean, there are so many sightings going on all over the planet. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, Iran, Turkey, Mexico, Venice, California, Sonora, California,
The Sandown
Texas,
Clown?
Death Valley. I mean, the
Sandown
reports are coming in
Clown?
every other
No,
day.
I don't, but let me
It
write that
seems like
down
we're
on my,
heading
like,
towards
list.
an omega point.
I have, like, a list of, like,
What?
I have a list of, like, spooky stuff to, like, look into on streams and whatnot. I had not spent any time to, like, look at anything this week because I was working on that stupid edit. And so I'm just being lazy watching this shit. Let me write this down. Sandown Clown. Alright, cool.
What is about to happen? I mean, is this...
Yeah, it's a 55 Buick hubcap. That's exactly what it is, Sharky.
Or do you really think, you know, there's a major, unprecedented communication that is about to happen between our extraterrestrial visitors and...
Oh, hell yeah, Anonymous.
Or, again, is it the...
It's sleep paralysis, okay? Most of all alien abductions is sleep paralysis, because I've had some sleep paralysis, and I fucked around with, like, having the sleep paralysis and kept trying to, like, invoke it and, like, make it, like, happen more and more, just to, like, see, like, what was going on and, like, how I could manipulate it. Because it was, like, coming, like, it would be, like, halfway, like, a lucid dream, and then I would start going into, like, sleep paralysis. So I'd keep, like, trying to, like, do everything the same every night to, like, get back into that sleep paralysis. But, yeah, most all of the alien abductions, when they're like, I was woken up out of my bed, it's just sleep paralysis. But those sleep paralysis demons are absolutely real. Those shadow folk that exist over there, like, trying to spook you out and scare you and eat your, like, scared essence that exists, like, as you're going to sleep. Yeah, they're, like, ether things. Fucking monster shadow folks. Fairy folks, or whatever the hell they are. Those things are fucking real.
Video camera question. More camcorders.
There are definitely more video cameras out there, and
hell yeah, playing some frisbee, playing some disc golf.
The biggest thing in ufology in the '60s was Herb Shermer, the Nebraska Highway Patrolman, who was.
There's a Reddit alien that flew to the moon and back with proof.
In Nebraska.
Holy shit! I'll have to write that down too to learn about it.
Saw flying saucer, and then under hypnosis, turned out that he was taken aboard and informed of their intentions. Barney and Betty Hill. I mean, these were the key cases. Shermer, Barney and Betty Hill, the Pascagoula incident, Travis Walton. Now there are hundreds.
Hell yeah, Burger! I know some like old graveyards like that.
Because it's in the consciousness. Because we have, you know, a poll saying basically half of the world believes, and half.
Oh hell yeah, Dustin! Like yeah, absolutely. I know about the like seeing the weird shadow folk shit and whatnot.
About his time clock.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, ghosts or sleep paralysis too. A lot of like the paranormal shit is sleep paralysis, and sleep paralysis is really really spooky. Only because of like everyone has like the shared same like hallucinations as they call them. But nah, those things got like some will and mind of their own. Because I've like tried to like fuck with them in that state before.
Blew the world, you know, before we blew the world up. The theory that once the hands got to midnight,
hell yeah,
nuclear weapons in the world would.
Oh shit, they're from Hollow Earth.
Stop that.
Probably.
Clock, thankfully.
But maybe we are the Hollow Earth. I remember, I forget when it was, like the 1800s, where there was that one guy who was like, "No, guys, we live in Hollow Earth, and everything's the inside of a shell, and the aliens live on the surface, on outside. We're Hollow Earth."
But as far as the UFO clock, he says we're 1 minute to midnight now. meaning that in a minute to midnight, something really, really spectacular is going to happen. Now, whether that's a mass
Burger, that's spooky.
appearance,
That's really
that
spooky.
is, you know, come over to the Yankee Stadium during a game. I think possibly the next, maybe even in the next 5 years, we're going to have occasions like the one I experienced in upstate New York in the mid-'80s when I woke up in the middle of the night and I said to my wife, they're calling me, I want to go outside, they want me to come outside.
Oh yeah, hag dreams.
Something outside wants me to come out and say, oh, just go back to bed. I went back to bed, but in the next day in the media, in newspapers, in radio, all over upstate New York and Ontario and Quebec and Vermont, people spoke about this urge they had to go out of their houses at 3 in the morning and look up into the sky. And 12,000 people shared this urge, and they went out. And
that's very spooky,
news story.
Burger.
And of course, the Air Force said that a Chinese rocket had exploded over New York State, and what people saw was a massive, miles-high pink spiral in the sky above the Great Lakes.
A pink spiral?
In Hull, Quebec, Canada.
Whoa, that's crazy. Y'all remember that blue spiral that happened? And that portal opened up with that blue spiral or some shit like years ago in Norway or whatnot?
A few years afterwards, there was a story of several hundred people, almost 1,000 people in this community, Gatineau, north.
Oh, really,
Canada,
Dustin?
In the Quebec province, sharing this urge to come outside and look up into the sky, and they also saw an apparition. So there are going to be more of these maps.
Burger, that's like a spooky one for sure. I've like had similar stuff happen, but like I definitely like believe you on that. Because that's like how it is. It's just like a darkness sometimes, just like shadow, just like it's just a shadow.
Sightings, and you know, the day that 1 million people in Idaho at a rock concert or something see it, that is when you're going to really get the conventional military and police sitting
at a
down
rock
and say,
concert.
well, it's time to throw the Brookings Institution report out and lay it open to the people and let the people decide, you know, what must be done in conference with our state leaders.
Hell yeah, Anonymous.
Looks like you got an object right in front of you, Mark. Can you look out there? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Never mind. Are we missing something? I don't see anything. Yeah, we think the camera filter came off, Mark. It's about your 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock going away. Don't worry about it.
They just said it was the camera filter. It came off and was like floating away or something.
There have been so many celebrities. I mean, you know, like people.
A little Mylar balloon.
John Denver. Many people who have been interested in UFOs, but also in the idea of going into space. Would you?
Yeah, I know what you mean by it's hard to look at. Sometimes your brain just can't focus on it. And it's hard to look at. It's almost like staring at the sun where like, your brain just can't process the lights because it's so intense. It's like darkness. Your brain like can't process the darkness because it's so intense.
Train and go on the space shuttle yourself and conduct investigations into UFOs. And if you did that and you took an oath that stated that if you did discover something out there, that you would not share it with the American public. And if you knew you had captured on videotape actual UFOs...
What moon? What moon? The moon doesn't exist anyways. The moon's just like a holographic projection beam. They blew up the moon years ago and they replaced it with a holographic projection beam.
From the space shuttle, would you break that oath and share the truth with the American public?
Well, first of all, I'm claustrophobic, so I doubt I'll go up into space. But if I were to go up into space, I would have to say, look, you know, what we see up there and what we find, you know, we're just gonna have to throw out that law. There's a law. According to NASA's Space Act, signed on July 29th, 1958, Section 102, Paragraph C, Subparagraph A, we read, information obtained or developed by the administrator in the performance of his functions under this act shall be available.
Yeah, Dead Barbarian. That is something that does scare me. Is like being in space. I watched one of those like, hey, I'm floating around in this tin can. look at me, there's the Earth down there. And I was just like, oh my god, that's scary. People are not supposed to, like, fly through, like, the cell membrane of the Earth out into, like, a void, like, puncture it up and go into that void. If anything, we're supposed to open up some Stargate wormhole and just, like, walk through it. We're not supposed to, like, fly around in just some, like, little, like, tin can shit in a big-ass void. What the hell are we doing? That's stupid.
Public inspection, except information authorized or required by federal statute to be withheld and information classified to protect the national security.
Hell yeah, Dustin.
Would NASA consider contact with an extraterrestrial civilization a threat to national security? And
I have no clue who the guy is. Whoever the guy is, it's who made this documentary, Dead Barbarian.
The national security.
Hell yeah, Vince.
So I would have to say, no, I couldn't agree.
Peace.
To
Obese.
I
don't know how to say that. It's like peace, but obese
at
the same time.
People, you know, wanting to do the best for their country, wanting to serve their country in a legitimate way would say, yes, I will not disclose. And this is based on the Brookings Institution report from the late 50s, which, you know...
Hell yeah, zombies ate my neighbors.
That if
that's my favorite game.
Were revealed to the American populace would not be able to handle it. They would defy church authority, police authority, military authority, governmental authority. They wouldn't go to work. They would sort of cast
they wouldn't go to work.
The mayors and governors and presidents and go, we want to talk directly to these.
We want to talk to the aliens.
That these beings should, you know,
these hubcap aliens
put to us directly.
Flying in galvanized sheet metal hubcaps.
I think the American populace today is ready to handle the concept that what we live in, the 4 dimensions of height, length, width, and time, is not all there is. There are more dimensional realities. There are advanced beings with machines that can skip from dimension to dimension, from galaxy to galaxy, using the Einstein-Rosen bridges, the wormholes.
God, like, Dan Aykroyd literally just has, like, a bunch of, like, bullcrap that he's, like, just recalling and just trying to make himself sound smart. Einstein-Rosenberg's theory, blah, 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 wormholes. It's just like science babble.
I think the American people, I think half of them know, and I think the other half, with the proper evidence, would be ready to accept it. It's going to take a mass sighting for the U.S. government to finally say, look, we're going to come on side with France, Belgium, Mexico, Turkey, Iran, and we're going to tell the truth, and we're going to reveal what happened to Tom Mantell when he went up in his P-51.
Hell yeah.
What happened in the Great Lakes.
That's what's up, Obese.
It was an F-104, I believe, was scrambled over the Great Lakes in the 60s. What happened to him?
Right, exactly, Dead Barbarian.
I think that
if aliens showed up, I would expect everybody to take, like, you know, a snow day, essentially. But he's like, oh, no one would do anything if the aliens showed up, so that's why the government won't let the aliens show up.
That if you have that type of sighting, then there'll be no choice.
Hidden dimensions, ooh.
Interdimensional travel. I mean, not just traveling through our dimension, but going into alternate dimensions, Dan. Would you, and if you could, a spaceship arrives in your yard, and you know you've got the barbecue out, and there's the steak on the grill, and they want you right now to come with
Dead
them
Barbarian.
and go into another dimension. And to move forward and backwards on the timeline, to go forward in time and backward in time.
Kind of like a box vacuuming up
backward
ghosts.
in time. Are there any events in human history that you would interfere with, that you would change to alter the destiny and the course of humanity?
Well, I wouldn't want to go back in time.
Exactly.
Because,
Pico
that
Chiquito.
would be a tampering that I wouldn't serve mankind well. Although there are many horrors, of course. Wouldn't you have loved to have caught Hitler?
Oh my God. What? Of course, wouldn't you have loved to go back in time and caught Hitler? That's what everybody says. Everybody always says that shit.
And have him drown in a river.
Oh, whoa, wow. He even said, like, more stuff. Wow, he even said more stuff. He said he was going to drown Hitler as a 15-year-old in a river. Holy crap.
Hitler. Mankind well. Although there are many horrors, of course. Wouldn't you have loved to have caught Hitler as a 15-year-old and have him drown in a river? Wow.
You could have just said stop Hitler, Dan Aykroyd. Like, you know, but at least we know that you're thinking about drowning 15-year-olds in a river. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from, Dan Aykroyd?
Or, you know, because then we could have solved the Holocaust problem, and then World War II may not have...
Yeah, exactly. The alien mind controls in
There was
full
Otto
effect.
Dinkel. You ever heard of him? Well, he was an orator hired by the German army, just like Hitler was, to speak. If Hitler died, maybe Otto Dinkel would have been the guy that would have gone on with this rabid anti-Semitism and wiped out 9 million people. Of course, one thinks of those things, but you don't want to go back in time and play with events because... You know, where we've come to today and the improvements we've made in human rights and in regarding ourselves.
Hell yeah, he's deep into them crystal skulls.
Bad things that have happened.
Yeah, he's working through something.
I would want to see
exactly, Ledgeview. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking so hard that Dan hired the guy to interview him so he can just like ramble and say all of his stuff.
It is 300 years from now. Did we make it? Did we make it? That's what I would like to know.
I mean that from my knowledge of the world that I see around me, I think that it is much more likely that the reports of flying saucers are the result of the known irrational characteristics of terrestrial intelligence rather than the unknown rational efforts of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Interdimensionality, again, if you could move forward and backward in time and meet any personality, any public figure, celebrity, or politician,
right, 7 gram.
Or
it's an odd way to express it.
Is there anybody that you would like to sit down with? If you could have lunch with them or just sit down and talk to them and have a discussion, forward and backward in time.
Oh, I'd love to spend an afternoon with Richard Feynman. Would love to sit down with Heisenberg and, of course, you know, Einstein, Niels Bohr, Max Planck. You know, I'd love to sit with the, you know, the particulate, you know, the quantum physics guys.
If he was at the table with all those guys, they would just like be like, "What are you talking about? Shut up! You're so dumb." That's hilarious. He wants to like hang out with all these big brain guys. He thinks he's on par with all these big brain guys to hang out with them and eat dinner with them.
Because there really is the root of understanding how and why the world is the way it is, and the joy of these studies in antimatter that are occurring.
Education is what remains after one has forgotten everything he learned in school. Einstein.
Everyone you picked is a physicist, a scientist, and I often think about how spirituality and science are merging, how they're kind of coming together. I mean, what ancient civilizations thought of a universe was really the Earth and the Sun and a few planets.
Hell yeah.
And now with the
it's all about the antimatter, Gilgamesh. It doesn't matter.
The universe is far bigger than the ancients had ever imagined. So, while science and religion are merging on some ideas, and other areas are just far off. But to make matters even more complicated, the idea of parallel dimensions or parallel universes, I mean, it's just getting so vast.
Parallel dimensions, parallel universes. He's talking about the merge and shit right now. Like, that's what they're, like, getting into and talking about. Dan Aykroyd's, like, gonna, like, back up, like, Christine's, like, merge theory.
Out there. How do you map?
Oh, my God, that's funny, Ledgeview.
You know, I've talked to some guys. They say that fifth dimension, sixth dimension, could be right here by my ear and could be 1 millimeter wide and 1 millimeter across. You don't, you know, because you're talking about, you know, dimensions that defy any kind of dimensional understanding.
A dimension.
And, you know, there was I forget his name. He died recently, in the last 2 years, but he proposed that there are parallel realities just
right.
because of the way we
right, dead barbarian.
Like, here we are in this interview right now. Well, what I said and what you said and what we all did 2 minutes ago still exists somewhere because we just did it. It's
exactly,
like
Gilgamesh.
And
he's had to been. He's been drinking and like smoking. Obviously, he's talking about this shit like this.
And stop and see what we're doing 2
to
minutes before.
some guys.
School days. You go back to your days as an infant. And those realities are still existing alongside what.
Oh, he's currently writing a 5,000-page script for a Sonichu movie.
You know, it's all a beautiful, beautiful mystery.
Oh my God!
I am here.
I bet it won't bomb like that other movie he made. I bet it won't bomb
because I am a writer, a performer. I find it entertaining. I'm not a scientist.
I don't know. It's so bad. Like just the spiky hair. It's so funny.
Or philosopher, and I.
They had to sell that hair gel. You gotta like sell hair jelly somehow. He's trying to sell UFO plushies. I mean, alien gray plushies for the Area 51 truck stops, and he's trying to sell like some kind of like Cool Spike hair gel for men.
I am just here because it is enormously entertaining, and mysteries like this are challenging, and it's really, really fun to contemplate.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's what it is. The hair gel was reverse engineered from the Roswell
crash.
There may
be beings out there who are concerned about our planet and who may give us the opportunity to advance ourselves. It's really fun to contemplate.
Oh my God! It should be. It better be. This is like right afterwards, 2005 and shit.
All the physics that we know on this planet, quantum physics and conventional physics and metallurgy and
metallurgy. He said it again. He keeps saying metallurgy.
All of it. It can really encompass a theory of how these ships move. I mean, you've done it yourself, David, proposing that if you can convert a mass to a state of of photonic energy, then there is no mass anymore, and you're looking at pure light. You're looking at anti-gravity. You're looking at something that can be
what's up, Caustic?
Harnessed in waves. Well, what is the fuel?
Hell yeah!
Bob Lazar talked about this element 115 that was put into these generators to boil mercury and to be used as gravity tractors. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, they must be using a fuel that's unavailable.
Yes, like I know. I knew that it's a different actor playing Liquid Chris. That's the thing. But I'm like respecting it as if it's in dimension.
To us, does it give off radioactive waste? What is the cost to them? For instance, the Venice UFO that you recently showed me, and I covet that tape. That's amazing.
I covet that tape. What? He's coveting a UFO tape? That is a very strange way to express that.
Because you see the metallic quality of the object, you see the force field around it, you see it spinning.
It was May 2nd.
Hell yeah, Gilgamesh.
2004, approximately 11:30 a.m. And I was walking from my apartment with my girlfriend down this alley right here.
Venice Beach, California.
And I looked up over at those phone lines, and we saw something that we really couldn't make sense of. It was very...
Venice Beach, California. Like, you can smoke so much weed there. Like, you just go walk in and, like, buy weed, like, anywhere, like, smoke it. Like, it's Venice fucking Beach. There's crazy motherfuckers there. And you're gonna be shocked that a UFO, you see something that you claim as a UFO at Venice goddamn fucking beach.
Shiny, metallic disc. So we turn the corner.
Hell yeah, it's Eminem.
This is basically where we're just looking at it. And we're pretty much like, okay, that's not a balloon or anything we're familiar with. So we sort of kept walking to the corner and just
hell yeah,
stared
Caustic.
at it for a while until it hit me.
I know, look at that.
That this was really something.
This is really something.
Also looking at it, sort of a bystander, and he said, wow.
Exactly, 100% like a balloon or a parachute. And it's at Venice fucking Beach. It's probably a UFO balloon that some fucking hippie, like, inflated and let it go. Like, hey, look, there it goes, man, whoa!
Did you guys see that? And that's when I realized all three of us were looking at something extraordinary.
What is the environmental cost of running these machines? Are they clean or are they not? Is there some, wherever, they came from, is there some place they have to go back to after their journeys are finished to dump whatever they've used up in terms of fuel like we would a bad fuel rod in a reactor. That is a question I'd like to know. I'd like to ask is, you know, are you a clean burning vessel, or
oh yeah,
is
George
there some
Lucas
cost that you pay like we paid for atomic energy?
When we consider
hell yeah,
it may be
Gilgamesh
possible to take mass and reduce it down to zero, make it as light as a photon.
Exactly.
We can start to
drones, drones are UFOs. Maybe everything that in the early 2000s people were seeing was just people experimenting with like getting drones made.
This whole light speed phenomena from a whole new direction. I mean, we're going to be able to do this. This is the only logical answer. There are no fissile nuclear materials in the universe as we know it to produce the kind of energies in a steady stream that you need to get mass up to that speed. There are no fissile nuclear fuels that can produce 1 trillion electron volts all day long. And wormholes.
Wormholes.
More exotic.
Wormhole artist rendering
and folding two spaces
oh
of
my
space-time
God.
together and creating a shortcut wormhole to vector in between those 2 points. According to Kip Thorne, who wrote Black Holes and Time Warps,
that's awesome though, George Lucas. That's a cool concept. The UFO looked like a fractal pattern that made everybody terminally sick. That's pretty cool. That's a cool concept. I like that concept actually. Like, oh, if you saw something like that was crazy like that, it probably would make you sick. That's very like Lovecraftian. Like, I saw the Dagon terrible thing and my mind snapped.
For a wormhole is 100 million suns. The negative energy they put out for an entire year. There are 100 million suns in our galaxy.
Oh my God, yeah, Mark.
All of the negative solar energy coming from our suns in this whole galaxy.
Hell yeah, nice to meet you.
Total energy for a whole year is required to create a wormhole. Where is
exactly
any extraterrestrial civilization or our civilization going to get access to levels of energy that high? It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, just the concept, because you said it was a sci-fi TV show, so I figured it wasn't going to be that good. But just the concept of like seeing it and like getting sick and dying from seeing something that your brain cannot comprehend and process.
I
like that.
the table here. I said, you know, you have to ultimately get frustrated with the idea of increasing energy en masse. You have to just.
Hell yeah, man! I'll definitely check that out.
Trying to cram it through the wall, you will never be able to do it this way. So the new way.
Venice cat flying hippie.
Possible. And when you consider UFOs coming in, stopping on a dime, and then accelerating and turning out into space, any Air Force pilot can tell you that stopping on a dime, the G-forces are going to throw you right through the walls.
Yeah, you'll be crushed.
And then sudden acceleration is
yeah, you'll be crushed. They like had to cut in Dan Aykroyd because he hadn't spoken in a while.
Destroy the body of the pilot. So this new approach and this new idea, I mean, this is just the inception, it's just the beginning, but I think this is really the only avenue that we can look down right now, and the only way we can see solving this problem.
Getting bored with this. Let's just like click towards the end. It's literally the same stuff over and over again at this point. All right, say something interesting, Dan Aykroyd.
They come to me and ask me about it, and I basically lay out, you know, my thoughts on it. I'd say half the people that I speak to about this have either seen.
I know they're all so Grady, exactly caustic. This is such like a. This is it. This is like the like peak of like early 2000s UFO documentaries.
Heard about it from a credible witness, or are willing to accept. The other half, totally not. Harold Ramis, my good friend and collaborator, does not believe, will not accept until, you know, hard proof is.
Egon doesn't believe in UFOs. Not until we have to bust a UFO and an alien. But until that day, Egon doesn't believe in them. It's so funny that he had to bring up goddamn Harold Ramis. Like, hey, Ghostbusters. Hey, Ghostbusters. You guys remember Ghostbusters? Like, that's all he's doing by saying that. Why you gotta bring up Harold Ramis for your UFO documentary?
Presented to him in the form of, you know, something tangible. And
hell yeah, he does. And that pose that he was doing, he kind of looked like it was like a Christmas card photo.
And let them think about it. And of course, the greatest proof are the kinds of tapes.
Hell yeah, he is paying for the interview after all. Oh, hell yeah, man. I like X-Files. I haven't seen that. Do you remember Jose Chung's From Outer Space, that episode? I remember that one.
Tapes that now exist, the kind of videos that exist. Usually when I
Yeah, that's Landis. Oh my God, George Lucas. Fuck Lib. Fuck Landis for that shit. Killing those kids and that other guy. Oh my God. Illegal bullshit. Illegal as fuck bullshit that he was doing. And fucking decapitated little kids.
Some tape of some different things that have been exposed to me. Well, it's pretty convincing. And then at that point, people have to go away and accept that, you know, that these things are a part of our reality.
Hell yeah, Dead Barbarian. That's pretty cool.
Well, what I'd like to, you know, what we'd all like to affect is some positive change in the world and try to help the tipping point where good tips to overflow evil in the world. I mean, you know, we know there's good and bad out there, yin yang, black, white, you know, there are you know, tremendous.
Oh my God.
Planet. And you know, perhaps this study and this understanding of things that
there's
are
that
than we have
lightsaber, whatever the hell it was.
One that
a big amoeba thing.
Respect other beings out there in the universe and other dimensions, and also in our own 4 dimensions, and here in the physical world that we live in. The sacredness of human life, the willingness to get along a little better, to relinquish materialism and territoriality.
Oh my God!
In favor of
hell yeah, George Lucas.
Comprehensive worldview, which.
Oh my God! Yes. Jack Black was on an extra on the X-Files. That's the Quagmire episode. That I think so. Is it? I might be thinking of something else. No, that's not. That's not that. He was an extra on some other episode. In the Quagmire episode, they're licking toads, and I thought that was Jack Black who was licking the toads there for a minute.
Within us, as part of a universal light.
Gotta thank you, Dan, so much for this interview. I'm very grateful. I really believe you're one of the greatest minds in our world at this time. Thank you.
Oh my God! Obviously, Dan Aykroyd wrote this. Obviously, he paid for this interview. Thank you. I think you're one of the greatest minds of our time. Thank you, Dan Aykroyd, one of the greatest minds of our time.
Thank you so much.
Wait, look at that little...
Thank you so much.
Look at that little, like, giddy smile he did at the end of it. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, the cave people that get electricity powers? I barely... Oh, hell yeah. VHS artifacting was proof of alien civilization. That's so funny. But, I don't remember all of the episodes of X-Files. I remember the ones that I really like Home and Jose Chung's From Outer Space and Quagmire. But I remember the one with the hacker who was, like, all plugged into the computer and shit at the end of it. I remember that one, too. And I remember the Ouroboros. Scully got that Ouroboros tattoo and it made her trip out. And I have an Ouroboros tattoo halfway because of that Ouroboros that Scully got that made her trip out. Also because Ouroboroses are cool and shit. But halfway because of that cool, like, whoa, cool Ouroboros tattoo, yeah. Yeah, they had to say that. It was in the contract, absolutely. Yeah, that's all it gets the check sign. Oh my God. Exactly right, Caustic. Alright. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I know it was just kind of like a lazy stream just watching Dan Aykroyd, but I thought it was so funny because he was so, like, big-brained in it. Thinking that he was so, like, oh, interdimensional Heisenberg's theory of uncertainty. Like, it was just so silly for someone who's just SNL. He's just a goddamn SNL person. But thanks everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Dustin, Burger Boy, Dead Barbarian, Bronx Beats, Gilgamark, Little Minkers, Anonymous, George Lucas, Caustic, Mark Withers, Ledgeview. So nice to meet ya. Death. If I missed anybody, Sharky, Poopy Butt. Thank you everybody. Hell yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody for like watching the shit. Moshe, thank you. Yeah, I was just tired from making that other bullshit, so I didn't feel like having to look anything up. Thanks everybody. I'll see you later.